everyone. I'm Adam Papagan. Welcome to another episode of the ASMR Talk Show. ASMR is first time joining us. ASMR is soft talking, soft noises, and certain people, when they hear those noises, they get a little tingle in the front part of their brain. And so that's what this talk show is all about. Not about the phenomenon, but about the soft talking, pretty much. We have a great show tonight as well, but before that, I wanted just to share an experience. So this recently was National French Dip Sandwich Day. And just to catch all you up at home real quick, Los Angeles has two restaurants that claim to be the inventor of the French dip sandwich. One's called Cole's, one's called Philippe's. And people are loyal to both of them. Whatever, that's not important. So on this last French Dip Sandwich Day, Cole's was having a special. You get a martini and a sandwich for $10. So I was like, all right, cool. So I went and did that. I'm eating it, and I was like, you know, this is good, but the other French dip sandwich place is kind of a little bit better, I think. So I drove, a couple miles, I ate the one sandwich, and then drove, and I got another French dip sandwich to kind of have them back to back. And, after two large beef sandwiches and a martini in the middle of the day, I was not feeling great. And I was thinking like, man, why did I spend all this money on two sandwiches I didn't even really actually feel like eating today? And like all this meat, like, it's really unhealthy. Like, what am I doing? I need to like get together a little bit. But then I was like, who might be interested in this is people on Instagram. So I post my little ratings of the sandwiches, people got involved, and then I was like, hey, I bet I could take this to a Facebook group I'm in and get a little love over there. So I took the same post, copied it over there, and people were weighing in which sandwich they like better. And by that point, my stomach ache had kind of started to subside. The food had digested, and I was like, okay, I may have spent $20 on beef sandwiches today, but I got two great posts out of that. And then boom, flash forward to today, use the two sandwiches in the monologue. So that was really the lesson I learned recently, is if you're gonna be out there doing stuff, turn it into something positive, turn it into something for other people that they can enjoy. And kind of lucky, really honestly, to get to live in a world where you can have two classic beef sandwiches in the same day. It's a lot of fun. Well, folks, my guest tonight is no stranger to public access television, or actually mainstream television. He's a guy I've known for years through public access, and it's always fun to check in with him. Very funny guy, Josh Robert Thompson.
Thank you.
Hey, Josh.
Good to see you, Adam.
You too. Welcome, I'm gonna say welcome back to public access TV.
It's good to be back, and I do want to say that I heard you talking about the sandwiches.
Yeah. What do you think?
You said Cole's.
Yeah.
Did you mean the department store?
No, C-O-L-E-S.
Because I got
the sandwiches at Cole's department store are awful. Don't even.
You don't like those?
No, don't even.
Because I got very excited. I don't frequent Cole's, and I thought if there's one reason for me to go to Cole's, it would be to get a martini. You said it was a martini?
Yeah.
And a sandwich.
Yeah.
But now I've felt myself getting disappointed when you finished your monologue, because I realized you probably didn't mean Cole's, the department store.
No, Cole's department store, the sandwiches suck, and it's just beer and wine.
They do have beer and wine.
It's just, yeah.
And I gotta say, the prices are great.
Yeah.
They're not the sponsor of your show, are they?
It's public access. We have no sponsors.
So we're doing ASMR.
Do you want to get a little closer?
I'm gonna get... Because the thing about ASMR is people like to hear people chew things.
Yeah.
So if you brought some of those sandwiches on the show,
yeah,
and you ate them,
no food in the studio,
I think they'd make an exception for you. Can you put some plastic down on the floor?
I think they wouldn't make an exception.
So maybe just, and I give people a little taste of this. This is Morgan Freeman, ASMR. And Adam, I've known you since, way back.
Yeah, I was trying to think.
What year was that?
Well, this is a scary figure. Public access ended in Los Angeles 10 years ago.
2008.
Yeah.
December 2008.
Mm-hmm. So we're coming up on 10 years. Can you believe that?
And we had, the show I was doing was in Eagle Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my preacher character, the Reverend Apostle B.G. Holiness preacher. I can't really do that character in ASMR because he's a very loud character. Oh, I'm doing it now, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of sexy. But we were doing that show in Eagle Rock about, I want to say 2005 or 6.
That sounds about right,
5,
yeah.
and you were doing your show in
Santa Monica. They would, Saturdays they would go back to back.
That's right.
One would do live.
That's
and then
right.
the other one would go live. Which, like, why did they do it that way? It seems like it would have a lot of extra chaos.
Yeah, we had quite a rivalry. I remember. There was no rivalry.
No.
But your show was off the hook and wild. And then December 2008, I did a fake telethon, the public access bailout, where Reverend Apostle B.G. in a full tux and the late, great Raymond Chavez Jr. I don't know if you ever met Raymond, but Raymond was my producer and a very good friend at Chino Public Access and also Eagle Rock. He made this fake telethons. We had people on phones in the background taking phone calls to try to save public access. It didn't happen.
No.
But here we are.
In Pasadena.
How did this even happen?
So, as I'm sure you know from public access orientations,
Yeah.
public access television is funded by the franchise fees that the city collects from the cable operator.
Right.
So in LA, they decided we are not going to allocate, we're just going to keep that money. We're not going to make you do a studio. Just give us that
That's
to pay
what
for
happened.
meter maids and bureaucracy and
Meter
stuff.
maids, bureaucracy.
But here in Pasadena, they were like, no, this is actually a resource for the community. It provides job training. It provides an artistic outlet, and you know, it's a unique thing that they don't have
Yeah.
everywhere. So they've been able to hold on here. Monrovia still has it. Torrance, we were down in Torrance.
It's
6 years, 7 years ago.
You were doing a show called the Dell Talk Show,
Yeah.
Which I thought, again, and something about you and fast food chains and department stores, I get them confused, just as I confused the Kohl's sandwich shop with Kohl's the department store. I thought that the Dell Talk Show was Del Taco.
No.
And I remember driving for hours to try to find the studio, thinking I was going to get a burrito. And that's not the case.
No.
Thankfully, this show is just called the ASMR Talk Show.
Yeah.
So no confusion
It's
there.
a lot more direct.
So,
Yeah.
but this place has been around for a while, this location.
As far as, probably since the 80s or 70s when public access started.
How did we never figure this out?
I had actually come here 4 years ago
Okay.
when I was at another Drone Box, the studio we were at previously.
Right.
And I was like, which was just on the internet and it wasn't cable related.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there's nothing here that they don't have at Drone Box, and so I'll just, what I just took it, the timing wasn't right. I guess.
Why is, I gotta get my voice in.
Yeah.
Why is public access so special? Because you were doing Drone Box, right?
Yeah.
You could do it for the internet. I
Yeah.
did a lot of stuff over the last 2 years on Facebook Live and YouTube, but it's not the same.
It's the community here.
Right.
And the fact that it's being, you kind of feel like you're having one over on the man, on the cable company.
Right.
You get to use all these cameras for free, and
It is crazy. You walk in, it's tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment
Yeah.
just sitting here waiting for you with your Hawaiian shirt to come on and whisper
yeah.
with some jokers in the middle of the night.
Yeah, this is costing the city of Pasadena money.
I'm happy
us to be here.
I'm happy to cost Pasadena money.
Yeah.
And by the way, can I say something to the city? Is this going out live, or are we?
No, but say it anyway.
All right. I want to say something to the city of Pasadena. One of the greatest restaurants here in this city was Red, White, and Blues. It was, I don't know if you ever ate there.
No.
This was, there's the problem. Yeah, it was a larger space than necessary, but they had live jazz and blues and a delicious menu. And now it's gone, and I blame you because you've taken the money away from the city.
Okay.
That's why I'm here, actually, on behalf of Red, White, and Blues.
Well, I'm going to throw one back at you. Did you ever eat at Burger Continental?
No.
Another great restaurant here in Pasadena, live polka music,
Oh,
also out of business. And I'm going to blame you for that.
well, I'm gonna double up, and I'm going to say to you that I have about 150 polka albums in my possession.
That I'm not surprised about.
Something you didn't know about me.
I know you like archaic media.
I do.
I saw you have some video discs one time,
I have
VHS tapes.
movies on vinyl, video capacitance disc.
Video capacitance disc.
Do you know that there are people online who make a living doing ASMR videos where they just eat things like cupcakes?
Yeah.
How? I mean, I feel like we were at the forefront of all this bizarre insanity. And then Tim and Eric show came along, and your friend, wasn't David Harden on that
yeah,
show?
mhm.
But before that, we were all kind of doing that kind of weird public access, Adult Swim kind of thing.
Yeah, and then some,
And then it became hip.
insiders, yeah.
They were like, this is what the kids want, Eric Andre. But we're back.
Yeah, kind of. But so Josh, you are maybe one of the great success stories
Yeah.
of public access.
Yeah.
Well, you made it onto actual real
I
television.
did make it onto television.
Yeah.
You know what happened is I was doing my Reverend Apostle BG character, and I was preaching and sermonizing, and one of the people that watched my show was Joseph Struzzulo, who was a writer for a little show called The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson. And he emailed me and said, what is this show and what else do you do? And then I started appearing on that show as Arnold Schwarzenegger back in 2007.
Hi, Craig, how are you? Oh, this is whispery Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is fantastic. Maria, I'm coming home, please. Let me lick your earlobes.
See, Pasadena thought I was going to say something really nasty there, but I cleaned it up.
Yeah.
No, but I ended up doing The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson for years.
That was probably the last time I saw you was in that range. And that show's been off for a couple years.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So, well, what have you been up to? What have you been
That shows.
busy with?
There's another thing I want to
Yeah,
say to everybody.
okay.
I need a job. That's why I'm here. Do you really think I would come on this program? No, of course I'm kidding. No,
yeah.
The Late Late Show, I did the voice of Jeff Peterson, the robot sidekick. And I sat behind a wall and puppeteered this robot and improvised with Craig. And then I went on tour with him for a while. And then around that time, I started doing Family Guy. And I just started my 8th season doing voices. In fact, the last episode last week, they wrote me into the script.
So I was talking like Morgan Freeman, and I said, but they couldn't afford that voiceover, so they hired me, a guy who sounds like Morgan Freeman, but is really Josh Robert Thompson, and I work for scale.
But they wrote me into the script.
That's pretty amazing.
It was incredible. But I've been over there for years. I love doing that show. And I've just really kind of been doing what you do, but more online, experimenting with drugs. No, I've been doing a lot of live streaming stuff, Facebook Live, YouTube. Tried Periscope for a little while. Periscope's like the redheaded stepchild of the whole thing.
Isn't it over already? Didn't they shut it down?
It might as well be. It's over there. It's still over there.
Oh, okay.
But none of it's like public access. And honestly, despite everything I've done, I made a pilot. I made my own TV show about 3 years ago, which comes right out of public access. Everybody that's on it, mostly everyone on it, is from public access TV, except for you. I'm sorry I didn't call you, buddy. I apologize. Well, you actually have been doing your, I don't know if you're still doing the OJ tours.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was a big thing. I remember watching you start that out. The beginnings of it, I think on Instagram or wherever I was following you.
Yeah.
And now it's like a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you're real laid back and casual about it.
Yeah.
But don't you take pictures with, who were the celebrities I saw you with?
Well, your co-star on Family Guy, Mila Kunis.
Yeah, yeah.
And her husband, Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
That was crazy because, I mean, you've probably had some run-ins at the show with celebrities and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
But this was a 2-on-1, 2 celebrities
Right.
to 1 me.
Right.
So that was
And you're the guy, you drive the bus?
Their lives were in my hands. Yeah, it's a Bronco.
Oh, it's a Bronco.
Yeah,
Of course, it makes sense. Sorry about that. Did you steal it? Okay.
No, I bought it. It's
Sorry about that. Can people, is it legal? Is this all
Yeah. I have all the insurance.
taxes and
yeah,
everything?
Yeah.
You got your own corporation?
Yeah.
I tell you what, buddy.
Yeah.
I've known this guy since he had hair.
That's true.
One day I met you and you didn't have your hair anymore. And I was like, you grew the mustache?
Yeah. Well, I had to make up for that top.
Well, get back to me in a couple years and I'll be doing the same.
Well, cool. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, man, but public access was before YouTube. That was what you did.
Mm-hmm.
There was no YouTube.
I have so many friends I've met over the years from public access who I've been friends with. Some of my longest friendships are with, and like, we would probably, you're a nice guy, but we'd probably never hang out if it weren't for this public access thing. We'd probably never even meet each other.
Honestly, yeah, if I saw you, you're like one of those, like, what part of town do you live in?
Santa Monica. Yeah.
See, I'm in Silver Lake.
Yeah.
I feel like we should switch. It feels like I should be living in Santa Monica and you should be in Silver Lake.
Start a tour company.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it feels like you should be bumming around looking at records and vinyl with that shirt.
Yeah.
If you were in Silver Lake right now, people...
They'd rip it off my back.
Yeah, let me get you the shirt. I need this shirt. I don't wear weird hats or anything, so I don't really belong in Silver Lake, but I've been there almost 7 years.
The house that you see.
You were at my house?
Yeah.
That's right.
And you got it from doing funny voices.
I gotta tell you, it's not a bad way to make a living. It's but I still love public access. I'm so excited to be here because I was sitting in the green room, which has a green carpet. It is a green room. And I'm watching the two TVs that are in there. One of them had a city council meeting, which was an Altadena or something.
Yeah.
I was thrilled by
up
that.
the street.
I love it. And the other TV had the community bulletin board. And I'm the only guy that gets excited about that. It's like, bake sale, Mart Parade next week. I was like, yeah. And you came and we're ready to do the show. And I'm like, yeah, no. Actually, when we're done here, I'm going to go back in there and just watch.
Yeah.
If I can.
It's that, I don't know how to explain it to people, but just because some of the greatest shows I've ever seen have been public access shows.
Yeah.
But you never know what's going to be coming up.
Right.
And it's like a roulette wheel.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, I hope this is going to be weird. I hope it's going to be.
Oh.
And then 90% of them are boring.
It's true.
Or nowadays you get a lot of people who are like, and back in the day you did too, but people who are like trying to be funny. I guess we were too in our own way. But
yeah, but it was more unique. We were doing different, pushing the envelope in the sense of people were not doing what we were doing. You were doing crazy stuff in Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing this preacher character.
Yeah.
In fact, the LA Times wrote an article about one of my shows.
Yeah.
back
Oh,
in
the
day.
public access, public
Were you
hate
in that
article?
as well?
Yeah.
So we actually made it into the LA Times.
Yeah, the first time.
Way back then.
Mm-hmm.
And this was before the outrage culture emerged. So we really pissed people off.
The live shows, it's almost, and of course there's none of these online anymore or anything. It was probably better for us that they aren't, but the live shows, people would just call in and just say the most hateful, racist stuff.
Right.
And I don't think it was motivated by hate as much as it was let me see what I can get away with saying on TV.
Yeah.
Because public access itself is very diverse, people of all backgrounds, all ages, everyone just making their shows.
It was, the live shows I do online, people call in, and what happens now is they don't call in being racist or offensive. Now the people call in trying to be funny. And I feel that that's worse. Because what happened was I think the audiences became so self-aware because of social media. Everyone became a star, everyone became a comedian, an actor, a model, a photographer. And I think that attitude translated over to the audience. It certainly happens in clubs. There's a lot more heckling. The audience feels they're part of the show. And they are in the sense that they're there to give us that energy and we give it back. But that's what happened. People call in to my preacher show and they do Southern accents. And I'm like, you don't have to talk. I'm from the South. You don't have to be. But everyone wants to do a bit. I think that's worse. But there's no going back. Everyone's been tainted now.
Oh, yeah.
Before, when we were doing it, I think it was, You're doing what? Yeah, in public access. What's that? By the way, these studios were in the middle of nowhere. Like, at least Chino was over by the men's prison in a
Like a good guest.
Did you ever go over there?
No.
Oh, man. Yeah, some of the guests were cellmate number 3. I did 30 years, and I'm going to do 30 more. Killed a couple people over there by one of them farms. But you were in Santa Monica, which is a little more hip.
Yeah, that building is still
brick
there.
building, is it?
Yeah, and it's still Time Warner. So I'm like, I bet the studios, it's like a Egyptian tomb or something.
Yeah.
Like you go.
That's what happened.
That carpet, that gray carpet with the squares,
That's
is like
exactly
still
it,
in there.
Yeah. When I left Chino, I actually started working for Adelphia Cable. That's where it all went wrong. When I started working for the man. You were talking earlier about we're doing this to say, screw you to the man. I became the man. And it was really hard to get back to doing public access. And then I went out to Ontario, and we built a studio. Raymond and I built a studio. And I'm sure it's just sitting there doing nothing. What was the purpose of this studio? Well, we need to have it for local community affairs. That was my boss, my old boss, Bill Green, who Apostle BG is based on. He always says, man, I'm going to sue you, man. If that thing ever gets big, I'm going to sue you, man. Just kidding, man. Bill Green one time said he would leave his office door open. This is at the Ontario Public Access. And he'd say, hey, man, come in here a second. I need to talk to you, man. Get in here right now and close the door. And then you'd close the door and he'd say, that's pretty good, huh? Have a seat, man. How you been, man? You want some whiskey? This guy was the greatest boss of all time. So he let me go and do auditions. I started leaving and not showing up to work more and more, driving to LA to do my voice auditions. And then eventually he was like, I think you should quit, man, or we're going to fire you. And so I left.
You should have gotten fired to get the unemployment.
I know, I was really stupid. Honestly,
That's probably what he was trying to tell you.
When I think about it, it was the dumbest thing. But it was the greatest thing I ever did, because that was in 2006. And a year later, I was doing the Late Late Show. I mean, before that, by the way, I was calling into the Howard Stern Show as Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You played a prank on George Takei, right?
George Takei. That was the, there was the blow up the moon prank.
I'm going to blow up the moon. It's totally useless. We get rid of it.
So Joe Scarborough had a show on MSNBC, and they reported it as fact that Arnold was going to blow up the moon. But all he was upset about is that Arnold said,
if we get rid of the moon, no more PMS, it regulates the menstrual cycle, no more bitching and whining.
He was upset about the comments about women's menstrual cycle, but not that he was going to blow up the moon.
Yeah.
So anyway, then I did the George Takei thing, where I told George I would make gay marriage legal if he gave me a massage and a reach around or something.
Did you feel bad for deceiving George Takei?
Not at all. In fact, I met him at the Late Late Show, and we did a sketch together. And at the end of the sketch, I played Arnold Schwarzenegger on camera with the prosthetics. How are you? At the end of the sketch, I was supposed to spank him on the ass. And I said, no, I should kiss George. It'd be funnier. So I kissed George Takei.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. He's salty lips.
What's your favorite impression that you do? The most fun one to do? Or?
Well, I do like Morgan Freeman. It's it just rolls off the tongue. You know, it's smooth, and you can talk about anything really. I could sit here and talk to you about that shirt. Oh, Adam got that shirt one day in Maui, walking down the streets, so whatever, you know.
But John Carradine is a great actor. You know John Carradine?
Yeah.
You would, of course you would.
Yeah.
But John
I didn't expect you to say that.
John Carradine,
he was in like 500 movies. Father of David and the whole, pretty much every Carradine that you know. He sired all of them.
But he had this sourpuss face. I played Dracula.
And one of the best things I ever saw was John Carradine doing it was a VHS intro to Night of the Living Dead. And they propped him up. This was in the mid-'80s, so they propped him up, put some blue light on him, and he's half dead, and he says,
Good evening, I'm John Carradine. Tonight you're going to watch Night of the Living Dead. which was shot in Pittsburgh. I've made over 500 motion pictures, and not one of them was in Pittsburgh. And now, let's prepare for terror. George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. I mean, that's my favorite intro. It's to insult the people that made a movie in Pittsburgh. Do you do impressions?
You're trying to put me on the spot. Maybe
No.
after the show, I'll
Yeah,
type some out,
to.
but I'm not gonna.
I'm
I
not
do.
here to
I will impersonate people I know or something. But I don't. I'm not
that's
like you
good.
where I have like characters. And then what else is too is hard with the impressions is being able to be conversational with it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
say anything.
Yeah.
You're supposed to practice like the vowel sounds, right?
Yeah.
I heard that's what.
It's just, you just become the, I mean, what I find now is it's hard for me. I have like a Mexican raccoon, Snorky Lopez, and then Darnell Jenkins is my, alien, my brother from another planet. Hey, what's up, man? Got no time for this. And then Darnell, but I found that, I was like, can I do these anymore? I got really nervous for a minute. Like, am I allowed to? Because the Family Guy thing, someone found out I was white. They're like, wait, you're Morgan Freeman, but you're white? And I was like, come on, man. I can't, Morgan Freeman knows I do
Yeah.
it, so. Hey, Morgan. Just saying hi to him.
Well, hey, Morgan. Hey, what's up, Adam? Nice to meet you.
Who is this fool? I'm sitting here, Josh. I saw you on TV, and you waved at me. Thank you.
That's probably what he would say.
Okay, cool.
Anyway,
Nice guy.
he is a nice guy. I've done a lot of ADR for him, a lot of automated dialogue replacement. That's like in a TV version of a movie where they censor things.
Really?
I do his stuff.
Like-
Yeah. Yeah.
So they get impersonators to do.
Oh yeah. That's a huge part of voice acting. It's
Oh.
just dialogue replacement.
Huh.
It's really fun.
Wow. So we're almost out of time, but
Oh my God.
one last thing I wanted to ask you. We've tiptoed around it. What is it about public access? Why did you come here today? Why have we been able to talk about it so much and not like you being on we touched on you being on CBS, but like we've gone on and on about these.
Because it's my heart. I mean, this is what I've been doing since I was a kid, doing shows in my basement in Cleveland, making sets out of cardboard, and my cousins were all my special guests. There's a magic to television that I think maybe we recognize, and it will never go away. It's like movies. There always will be a movie theater. It's never going to go away. There's just something special about it that, thankfully, social media and the internet still has not been able to replace.
Well, I look forward to our next public access
Me
meeting.
too, man.
Josh,
Good to
thanks
see
for
you.
coming on the show.
Thank you.
Josh Robert Thompson, he's all over the internet and YouTube. He does impressions. He has a podcast, JRT show. But this is the ASMR talk show. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is Adam Papagan reminding you there's a place you can go, and it's your mind. Good night.